Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Relax. This is Alex with Midway Apparel, and today's video is going to be entitled Baaaaad Sheep. And this video is based on something that has really been happening now. Now that the elections are done and cabinet positions are starting to get filled, we have a lot of people that are still just parroting the media. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. Now, out of all the people that have been selected for various cabinet positions, I'm going to focus today on one of them. And the one I'm going to focus on today is RFK Jr. Now, anyone that's known me for any amount of time, I have been a fan of RFK Jr. Ever since his name was put up for when he was running as a Democrat. When he left the Democratic Party and went independent, I was going to still vote for him there. And when he joined up with Trump, I was still going to vote in that regard. Now, big criticism that's always followed him from day one is his supposed anti-vax preferences. And that's pretty much what the media talks about. So I want to talk a little bit about that because a lot of people I've talked to say he's crazy, he's an anti-vaxxer. Now, to me, that just shows that people have no idea what they're talking about, because if you've ever listened to anything that he says in regards to vaccine, he's never been against vaccines. He's never been against the right to get a vaccine if you want it. He has raised questions about the safety of vaccines, the lack of testing with vaccines. He really got a name for himself again with the whole COVID thing with Anthony Fauci. Now, step back for just a minute, going back to Fauci, because a lot of people are still holding Fauci up to be what saved us from COVID. And Fauci is one of the reasons that this country had one of the worst health outcomes of any developed country with COVID. His refusal to accept proven methods, medications, his talk of social distancing, of wearing masks in every situation. And look, if you did all that stuff, great. And if you still do it, that's a you decision. But he has since come out and said that it was all a load of garbage. There was no scientific reason for his decisions about social distancing. As he said, it just kind of came about. Yeah. So there's that. Now, if you don't know anything about RFK, he's written several books. One of his most recent books was The Real Anthony Fauci. And in that book, he talks about the history of health initiatives that Anthony Fauci has led. um, in cooperation with Bill Gates, going back to the AIDS epidemic, the HIV epidemic. That was all led by Fauci. Why did so many people who had HIV all of a sudden start dying off? Why was there this massive epidemic? He talks about in the book it's because of the trial medication that Fauci was using. That was extremely toxic. And that ended up killing a lot of the HIV immune compromised people. That's what killed them. And he talks about how a lot of those medications, once they were no longer allowed in the States, how they went down to Africa and tested down there more. None of this, let's put it this way. If the things that RFK said about Fauci in that book and Bill Gates were not true, they would have sued him into oblivion. Rightfully so, they would have done it. They would have had the blessings of the courts. But instead, they made the books disappear. They weren't available in store anymore. You had to order it online. Despite that, it still became an Amazon bestseller. But the things he says in that book about them would be pure slander if they were not true. And nothing came of that. Now, yes, Donald Trump did put Anthony Fauci in charge of COVID. And like a lot of the appointments in the administration the first time around, it was a bad decision. Bad decision. So now RFK has been nominated as the HHS chief. And I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier about it. Now, the media is still calling him an anti-vaxxer. And people are still repeating that he's an anti-vaxxer. And I already said that's not what he wants. He wants studies done on the efficacy of the vaccines. He wants to look into why is it that we are mandating some of these vaccines for newborns. A COVID vaccine is now a mandate for new babies. Hepatitis B, I believe it is. Why is that required? Do you know how you get hepatitis B? Sharing needles and sexual transmission. Why would we be giving that to babies? Mom is already tested for that before the baby is born. These are the kind of things that he wants to get to the bottom of for vaccines. What else does he want to do? He wants to remove a lot of the garbage food additives, the garbage food products that are in our food system. Have you ever compared the ingredients in our foods to the same product overseas, where they have much stricter food standards? They're very different. Very different. The garbage that's being put in our food system is horrible. You want to talk about why are children having all of these issues? Why is ADD, ADHD, all that kind of stuff, why is that skyrocketing? What's up with all the autoimmune diseases that kids are having? Again, I'll be doing a video on one of those with my son coming up shortly. I was talking to my chiropractor the other day, and she was saying that her niece, her granddaughter, just a couple years old, is suffering from allergic reactions, severe breakouts. And the doctors have run tests and they decided that it's an autoimmune issue. What are they saying? It's something she's going to have for the rest of her life. She's only like 3. Why are we okay with that for our kids? That's crazy. Now, these are kind of things that RFK is going to get to the bottom of. And if you don't think that anything's going to come of it, if you think it's going to be a horrible ordeal, I want you to look at a couple things. Number one, he's been given a mandate by Trump to see measurable results in our kids in 2 years. That's in time for the midterms. Okay? That's good. Next thing. Look at the stock market. Look what's happened with all of the pharma stocks after that announcement. They're not doing so hot. They're afraid. They're afraid. Companies like Moderna, the only reason that company is solvent is because of the federal government. It's pretty much the only reason it exists. It's federal government funds that went into the company during COVID. Pfizer, have they really produced that many great quality products? Have they cured any diseases with their products? None of these companies are working to fix health problems. They're creating products to fix symptoms. That's a very different thing. In this country, we don't have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system. We have a system in place to help people manage symptoms of diseases, but not to try to eliminate the diseases. Now, I do want to say this, because some of you are probably watching this video and you're thinking, oh, well, you were just talking about the health of the country and smoking a pipe. He's going to make those go away. No, it's not about banning things. It's about helping people make informed decisions about things. Now, food products, things that we don't really have a say in, yeah, there needs to be, some of these things need to be out of the food system. These food dyes need to be out of the system. Those have proven health effects, negative health effects. Fluoride in the water. We have people upset that he wants to get rid of fluoride in our water. Fluoride is a byproduct of aluminum mining. And they had to figure out what they were going to do with it. And people are under the impression that, oh, it's going to make my teeth stronger. I need to do a fluoride rinse. We should put fluoride in our toothpastes. No. No, it doesn't. It does not need to be there. Fluoride is a waste product of industrial mining. It does not need to be in our food, in our toothpaste, in our water. No. And when you just automatically parrot something because that's what the news channel said, did you not learn anything from these news channels through this whole election cycle? They were wrong on pretty much every account. Why are we still believing what the news channels say? It's time we do some research. If you're going to feel so passionate about something like fluoride, have you ever done any research on it? Can you say that it's great for you? Can you say it's really important that that stays in our toothpaste and should go in our water? Now, I'm lucky enough to be on a well, so I don't have to worry about that nonsense. But I'll tell you what, it's super noticeable when I go places that have treated water. The chloride that's in that water, I feel horrible when I drink it. It tastes horrible. And if that's all you have as an option, you probably don't even notice it anymore. It's not good for you. So the fact that we have an entire party cheering to make America healthy again, and we have the media coming out saying how horrible this is going to be, this is what happens when you are a sheep. When you just follow because somebody said something and you just blindly mimic it. Do some research. You don't need to know everything about everything. You don't even need to know a little about everything. But if you feel so strongly that you're going to attack people because they have a different point of view than you've grown up with, do some research before you open your mouth. Now, let's see if they actually do what they say they're going to do. This was one of the big things that Trump got elected on, was this combination of Make America Healthy Again and the MAGA movement. Let's see. The Republicans have the majority in the Senate and the House, with the Republican president. The president's already selected RFK for this role. Let's see if the Senate puts it through. Let's see if the party actually stands behind what the American people actually want. Because remember, you can't just say this time around that it was an unpopular candidate, that the other candidate was actually the popular one, but this one just happened to win the most votes for the Electoral College. He got both the Electoral College and the popular vote. So let's see what happens. Let's see if the party's actually listening to the people. They make a lot of dumb decisions, so I'm not counting it as a win for sure. But let's just make sure we do our research before we just start spitting off whatever we heard the news say. Because that's a good way to look really dumb. This is something I've been pretty passionate about for quite a long time. We don't have fluoride toothpastes in our home. I don't put up with that garbage. It's not good for you. And that's just one of many things. The oils that are used for cooking products throughout this country, horrible. Food additives, horrible. If nothing else comes from it, getting some of those small problems fixed should be really important to you. Just think. That's all. Do a little research before you say the first thing that comes on your mind. All right. That's it. Have a good one. See you in the next video.